Hello and welcome to the May 2014 edition of the TetraCast. My name is Zack Reese. I am your host. Joining us today is Simon Chun.
Hey, my name is Simon, though I can, debate whether my last name is Chun or not.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Good. We might have a stranger on the podcast. David.
I think we lost David.
Sorry, I'm here. I messed everything up.
No.
What happened?
I accidentally closed it out.
Oh, okay.
Well, you're here now.
You want to start over? Or?
Yeah, we'll start over.
No,
Okay,
we don't
my
need
bad.
to start over. That's fine.
Just cut it.
Fine.
Ah,
Leave it as is. We'll keep it all together. It's fine.
I think we're good.
All right,
Hi,
my
David.
bad.
We'll do it
Hey,
live. Hey, David Kreinberg.
What's
How
up?
are you?
I'm all right. It's
Good.
Cinco de Mayo. It's the day where people drink, but I don't drink, so I'm just going to stay in bed and cry.
Wait, I thought Cinco de Mayo is where we celebrate the liberation of Mexico
By drinking.
by
And
drinking. But you're
celebrating
not. Are you Hispanic?
No?
Are you
Like they
Mexican?
need an excuse.
It's just an excuse to drink.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
St.
gosh.
Patrick's.
Always be like,
Just
"But
like
it's
St.
Cinco de
Patrick's
Mayo,
Day.
Dad, why?
Why
You
is
know,
that? Why
yeah.
not celebrate Children's Day? What is wrong with you people?
Because we're not Koreans.
You're not Mexican.
So?
I'll celebrate the Day of the Dead.
Mexico is right next door. We celebrate.
Very fair, I guess.
We import Asian goods.
Yeah, but they're all the way over on that other place.
But not Korean.
Oh my gosh.
goods.
This is nonsense. This is insanity.
Who cares about the kids?
Good episode so far.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I
Rolling
saw that
start.
episode of Pokemon. They celebrated Kids Day.
Hmm.
So
So,
yeah,
are we
and
ready to
Adam Vitale is
Yo.
also joining us. Hey,
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 hey.
how's
Is
it going?
it
Hey,
debatable that Vitale is actually his last name?
It's Vitale.
Tatali?
Okay, so it is
Vitale.
debatable.
Vitale?
Yeah.
I'll go with Tatali.
Vitale.
Vitale.
Wait,
Vitale.
have you been mispronouncing his name on purpose the entire past 4 episodes, or what?
No,
Okay.
I just have a terrible time with people's names, apparently.
It doesn't really matter.
No redemption. You didn't even try to redeem yourself.
From now on, I'll just go by the first names. They don't need to know you guys' last names. That's my excuse. I'm going to stick with that and not bring it up ever again. Is that okay?
Because you suck at pronouncing last names.
I do. I have a terrible time remembering people's names, too. I never seem to. Even people I've known, in high school and college for years, I still forget them when I walk up to them can someone else say their name? I don't remember you. I know your face. I'm good with faces. I don't know if you guys are kind of that, too.
I think everyone kind of has that moment at times.
Yeah. And it's odd because I have, this really good memory of other things. I can remember something that happened, years and years ago, but, last week, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I have that kind of memory.
Do you remember my name? I don't know if you remember or not anymore, dude.
I know your first name. I don't know if you have a last name.
Okay. As long as we get that part straight out,
Good. It's because, you say that once, I'll probably remember for, 24 hours, and then it's gone.
Man, this podcast has already been derailed so hard, it's not even...
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Record time.
It's good.
Good job.
It started off, right off the bat, David.
Yeah.
It's,
I already messed it up.
he had enough. He just immediately shut it off by when
Yep.
we started. He's like,
I was
nothing
just
to
like,
contribute.
screw this. My life is messed
What
up.
are we going to talk about? Oof.
I can't believe it's already May.
Yeah.
Those
I
years
can't believe
flying
E3's
by.
next month.
Right?
Yeah, it's... Whew.
That's going to be fun.
E3 is nuts.
Yeah, announcement day for Sword Art Online. Woo!
Wait, what?
They have the demo maybe there. I'll play that.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, they announced Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment is coming over. And apparently what's that PSP game? Infinity Moment?
Yeah.
That-
coming with it.
they are
HD.
doing it-
Like, why?
Yeah, an HD remaster. Is that coming? Well, Hollow Fragment has got Infinity Moment. That's the first chapter of the game, the first part of the game. Is that's slightly changed? Yeah, and so that was already kind of in the game. I assume it's just which is kind of odd, appease the people that...
It's kind of it's slightly redundant to include it with the game when it has it already included or whatever.
I don't know. It's not extremely equivalent, but that's like saying, here, we're going to give you Persona 3 FES for the Vita, but here's a copy of Persona 3 with it. Because fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm actually for that though. It's like I'm not going to complain against added value.
I guess,
It's
but
like,
it's just
you're paying the same price. Yeah, I mean it depends. I don't know enough about that to understand what the difference is, but I know that it starts with Infinity Moment stuff and then it continues on. Because someone brought this up on Twitter to me while I was reading it. They were like saying, "What is it? Just the same game twice?" I don't understand because they thought it was just a whole remake and. I don't know. I don't know if it's like they bought it and they got that with the license deal or something like, well, we're not going to release this separate, I guess, because that's going to take too much budget, too much money to market this separately and put out on the store. So why don't we just group them together? So
this is digital only, right?
That one is.
Yeah.
No. Hollow Fragment.
Well, yes. I mean, it's kind of all one package, is what I understand.
Is it?
Digital
Okay.
only.
Well, I guess. Damn it, I wanted a physical copy, but whatever. But yeah.
I guess, you can always import the Taiwan version, which is supposed to have English subtitles, which is why it was so obvious that it was going to be brought over, because why not? Because they already have the English translation. It's like any time you see a game that has an English something over in Asia, it's like, well, it's going to come here. Like Demon Souls, is like the same way. Although it had a rocky way to go before it got here. But
other games were announced for localization.
Yeah, it was a very big month, FIDA. Over My Dead Body 2, otherwise known as Orishika, is going to be brought over. And it has a cool cel-shaded look. I'm really liking it.
It's like a cel-shaded, like, watercolor type look to it.
So it's like a mix of Vesperia and Graces?
Not quite Canvas engine looking, I wish. But, yeah,
I'm not too familiar with the game, but looking at some of the stuff they've released for the Japanese release, it's like you have different family members that you kind of make and work with somehow that can be different classes, and you can kind of choose which lineage you're kind of working with and whatnot. So I don't know some of the details, but you get you're working with these different family members, and you can even adopt others or something like that. They showed monks and cannoneers, and there's even a character, I think it was a special character who can use summons.
So do they take after the traits of them when they move on?
I'm not entirely sure.
That'd be kind of cool. I like that.
But yeah, it's working with a family and a bloodline of some sort. And then Sony also announced that same day, they announced Freedom Wars, which is it's like a Monster Hunter style game, only with you get
in the future.
Yeah,
it's not. It's from what I've heard people play it. It's not quite like Monster Hunter.
Well,
it's got the
3D action type game where there's lots of different weapons, including everything from swords, hammers, spears to machine guns and cannons and Gatling guns and things like that.
This sounds like God Eater 2.
It does sound like it reminded me of God Eater 2, but it's apparently it's more.
It has less waifus. Is that?
It's more a story. I guess God Eater was very.
No, God Eater's very story driven. Yeah.
Yeah, I reviewed God Eater Burst and God's Eater Burst.
Okay, it's called
Don't
God
have
here.
one God.
All I know about Freedom Wars is there's a character who had a 100-year sentence or a 1,000,000-year sentence or something like that.
Yeah, they start off the game. Apparently they start off as criminals and they have to work out their sentence basically.
And it's something ridiculously huge.
You bring it down by hunting monsters.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this game sounds awesome already.
It is. It does. Everything about this game looks amazing. I'm kind of checking out the trailer right now, and yeah, it's got that same Monster Hunter perspective, but it's got a completely different style to it. It does remind you of God Eater 2 a little bit, but at the same time, isn't it got the same people who made God Eater 2 helping on it or something? I know it's got Dimps working on it.
I know.
I'm not sure.
God Eater 2, that was
Dimps, the people behind the Sonic Game Boy Advance series. Sonic Advance and all.
Dimps Battle or something like
that? Dimps is doing level design and things like that.
Oh.
Yeah. But it looks really cool, and when they showed it off last year and they had the Tokyo Game Show, they already had it English anyway. So once again, it was obvious it was going to come over, especially because Sony's trying to make that big push. But it's pretty amazing that they've put this. And of course, they announced Tales of Hearts R.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you guys know much about that game?
No.
All I know is that Tales of Hearts was a DS game released in Japan, and it was a 2D battle system, kind of a callback to that.
The last 2D Tales game.
What's it called? The Link system.
Well, all the Tales battle systems was like
They're all
linear motion, something blah blah blah.
Limbs. It's the Limbs system.
Yeah.
Linear motion
battle
something
sausage.
Yeah.
But
Nothing
anyway,
kills the
it was a 2D game with sprites, and then Hearts R is like a remake where they changed it to like a 3D plane.
It's like a shade of Vesperia.
Which some people I think like that and some people didn't. So it's very different from the original Tales of Hearts, which was never released anywhere outside of Japan. But apparently this was the most requested game according to Twitter to the Sony's like
Shahid
hashtag JRPG movement. So that might have had something to do with it.
I'm not surprised that this was the most requested.
Yeah, it beat out games like Type 0, which
didn't make sense.
To be fair, it was a Vita game where Type 0 isn't. So maybe that tripped people up that they didn't. Well,
yeah,
you can't really vote for a non-existent game. So I mean.
But anyways, so that's coming out later this year or maybe early next year, sometime around winter.
I guess it's next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, and then I guess finally they also announced coming out actually this month sometime is Soul Sacrifice Delta, which is like a kind of just an enhanced re-release of Soul Sacrifice. With
maybe I'll finally play it, and it hopefully has the Wild Arms DLC. That's what I'm more interested in.
Does this mean that Soul Sacrifice is going to be forever free on PlayStation Plus?
Is it still free?
It was free. I'm not sure if it's still free.
Oh, is it still not free? Okay, never mind.
It was at one point.
Yeah,
I know it was at one point.
That was last year. Yeah.
The Vita games that are kind of like perpetually free are Golden Abyss and Gravity Rush. Those I think are still there.
Final Fantasy Tactics, I think, War of the Ones.
For PSP. Yeah.
Yeah. But same thing,
But yeah.
You know what game they should make free for the PSP? Dissidia. Just saying.
Is that even on? That is on.
That is. Wait, is that not on the Vita?
I don't know. I know some people were talking about how they couldn't play it on their Vita.
Oh,
but it's probably got one of those like
this
you have
is a travesty.
Like transfer it from your PS3 to Vita. Can you do that?
Bullshit. Someone should sue Sony.
That reminds me what happened.
It all came up.
That reminds me what happened last month when like every PSP and PSX game was available or playable on Vita for like a weekend.
Not even a weekend. It was Monday to Wednesday. It was 2 days.
Yeah. Did anyone get something? Did any of y'all get a title that is no longer actually available now on the store?
I didn't. I was on a trip, so I couldn't.
Damn it.
Fantasy Star Portable 2, apparently. You could play it.
Oh, yeah.
And now, and that was like just a moment, and now it's gone. Like, I can't play it anymore, which is a bummer.
Oh,
like that.
Bought it and you can't play it anymore?
It's that you can't like, games that are unlisted anymore, it's like you can't re-download them, so.
Well, yeah, but you can play it, right?
But if you, it was there for a moment, and I didn't download it at the time.
So what happened to your money then?
I already bought it, like, a long time ago. It was like $10 at one point, and so I picked it up.
Wait, so what happened to the people that bought it but didn't get to...
Download it? If you didn't download it, you can't download it now. It's off the servers, so there's no way.
Threw money at Sony, right?
Pretty much.
You can sue them for this, right?
Well, they'd probably come back and say what this was.
Well, it was never officially announced.
Yeah, there might be some loophole to prevent
it might be counted as an exploit, not a...
Yeah.
Damn, this is so stupid. I want to play those games on my Vita, dude.
I mean, it's very logical when you think about the fact that they would have to sign so many licensing deals to agree to have their games appear on Vita like that. But at the same time, it's people en masse were upset about that, and completely understandably so.
Yeah, justified.
When the best system or the potential best system out there was only the best system for 2 days, and it
was funny because it was like on that Sunday they had that up until then on Sunday they had that
they had like a
$1 flash sale. Yeah, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot couldn't play it on the Vita, and people like I was even looking at this on Friday before, and people were complaining on Reddit and things like that about not being able to play that game all the way since like those games came out, like 2012. People were complaining about it, and then
they go on sale, and then they're available, and then it's just
out of it.
Like mixed up.
Like 2013, 2012, those games weren't even out, but the Vita wasn't out. But
the first Spyro sucked.
I love the first Spyro. That was like the first game I ever bought.
Actually, no, I meant to say first Crash Bandicoot, not Spyro.
I was going to say, like,
first Crash.
Crash
I played,
in Time
like,
is good.
Crash 1 doesn't hold up quite as well. Crash 2 is pretty great, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's obviously starting off. But now, like, you look at those series now. Like, if you ever played the PS2 Spyro, that's like, what was it, Gary Oldman as one of the friend characters. Then you had Elijah Wood playing Spyro. That was weird. Yeah, it was like you had a bunch of celebrity talent.
Very weird.
Yeah, but they had like a trilogy. But anyway,
back to RPGs.
Yeah, back to RPGs.
Hey, there are RPGs on that, all right? RPGs suffered.
But that would have been great, because just think of like how big that would be for the Vita.
That would have been a huge win for the Vita. Like,
yeah,
I love playing Actually, I feel like the Vita is like my most played game console within like past year.
Yeah,
it's definitely coming to its own.
Lots of Vita RPGs. We just talked about a bunch that were recently announced.
Yeah,
and then this month.
And Neptunia Rebirth 1.
The remake of the first Neptunia game.
Yeah, with
but no one
even just.
It's got the victory battle system, so it's at least it's not the atrocity that was the first Neptunia's battle system, which is like you had to use a bunch of like you had to buy a bunch of like these pills from the store, and you had to like change the God, it was so bad. It was a lot of.
It seems like they took the criticism to heart, and when they remade it, they basically just swapped out the battle system with the better one. I'm not really familiar with the series outside of that.
Wait, is it Neptunia 2's battle system?
No, it's Victories.
What the fuck?
I liked
this
it.
Game. Oh, fuck
what's
this
good
game.
What's so good about Mark?
Dumb.
What's good about Mark 2's battle system?
They took out the combo links and shit from what's it called? Okay, the only thing Neptunia Victory did better is that you can go into CPU form whenever the fuck you want, and you have to wait for that meter to.
That's what I want. I don't want
shit
either. Fuck that.
Fuck this shit. Not buying it. Not buying this Otaku bait anymore. Fuck Otaku bait shit.
Well, let me see what other changes there are. I know it did more than that. They added like a bunch of stuff to it too.
I'm not gonna lie. Actually, I find all the Neptunia games pretty shallow. I only like him for like this relatively cool character designs. Like
That's me.
That's the only reason I would play Fairy Fencer F. I really, really despise Otaku bait games. Like,
if it wasn't for the fact, like, that's when I reviewed Victory. I didn't like the game.
Battle system for 2 is good. 3 was good.
The level design in Victory wasn't good. A lot of copy paste, a lot of that. But
they did that for the first one too, or the second one.
All of them were kind of like that. It was like the going through the different stages. They were all pretty much like the same map.
That is the plan for all Otaku bait games. Is that they're seriously super crap low budget.
At least it wasn't like. Was it the first one when you had to wait till the island to come back around? You didn't? No. Oh yeah,
I've jumped into.
Anything's better than the.
I was
I only played like 2 hours of the first one.
It's because in the first one, if I'm thinking it right, it's that you had to wait till the island came back around to get on onto Louis or La Station or anything like that. You had to wait till the island came around, and sometimes you would have to wait for it.
Really?
It was just like
that's so terrible.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
It's basically like think of it like you're on a continent in an RPG. And
you have to wait for the other continent
to come back floating around to you.
That is so fucking dumb. Who designed this shit? Tell me this person is not working in an industry anymore. What the fuck?
It was really bad.
You're going like AVN over there, Simon.
Wait, what?
Nothing, never mind.
I do know that they also removed the scout system from Rebirth, so you don't longer send scouts out to go into different places to find items and stuff like that. So I'm glad that's gone.
The equivalent of Mass Effects,
you send I'm going to take you go off into this one place and try to find some items or find a way.
They did that in Victory.
Yeah, that's what it was. They took that out.
Because that was bullshit. Fuck that.
It never made any sense. Like I couldn't figure it out. Like because you would send them off to a place, you raise the flag or lower the flag, and then trying to get these. And you send them off, and they could affect them different ways. Like you can make it so that the monsters there can be stronger, or like the experience could drop, or something random. So I'm glad that's gone.
Even with the shitty game like Neptunia Rebirth, the Vita is the best system out there. Just saying.
I'll wait till I play Rebirth because Neptunia PP is coming, so I'll be excited for it.
You and your games.
Well, what I was trying to bring up earlier is that there were 2 Vita RPGs that released this month.
What? One of them involves pregnancy.
Yes.
Oh,
Zach played.
Something about Conception 2, which I got to review.
So how many kids did you make? Just out of curiosity. You need to answer this question.
Basically, it's important to make as many kids as possible.
Right.
So you can have up to 3 teams of 3 kids with you, with your main group. So you have the main guy, and then whatever the 7 girls that you want to take with you. And then you can have 9 kids that take with you, but they're teams of 3. It's actually kind of cool. So
wait, but how many total kids did you make?
Total kids?
That's the thing that matters the most.
40 kids with 1 girl.
Oh my gosh.
She was just like a hallway at the end of it. It was just you could walk in. But no, it's not sex. They don't really have sex, although they really want you to believe that it is. It's like
they don't have
spirit.
Sex kids.
It's star kids. It's like they are.
It's like you hold hands and your feelings for each other make a kid.
This is totally otaku bait. Oh my
It's like Demolition Man. They put on the headphones and then they do like the zapping motion and then they have kids. No, that's sex. No, it's a lot of like innuendo as you would expect. And the scenes are very suggestive, like straight up naked girls without nipples and just like moving around and just.
What the?
It's so absurd and over the top. Like you can't take any of that.
Podcast, guys.
It's not. You can't take any of it seriously. Like people point to that and say like this is wrong and sexual. It's like it's so absurd and it's straight
mad
up.
raunchy absurd.
It's a harem to the extreme. It's harem behavior to the extreme. It's not. It's so silly Japanese thing. It's that game never takes itself seriously.
Is this better than
like they have?
It's so hard to believe that Atlas decided to bring that over. It's like
I believe it.
Like
localize this game.
Faces Alley.
The writing is very well. Everything about that game was very Persona, but the so you have the two. You what they call it when you get with another girl and have kids. They call it class mating. They introduce something later with 2 dudes called class manting, and then you have 3 guys. And it could be tri-manting.
Oh, God.
Is 3 dudes or you and 2 girls tri-mating or tri-manting, as it were. And so you can have kids with the other guys. So it's now
opportunity.
Wait, what?
Opportunity. So you might have like, and it's very like class based.
Man,
so
imagine if
you have
this
kids,
is what sex ed was like.
So you can have 1 kid, or you can make
that's a lot of permutations that you could experiment with.
Yeah, you can choose between 2 different girls, like 2 different like anime stereotypes, like you want to get with the lolly character and the girl with the big boobs. Have all these kids, and then you have like so when you make the kid, you can have either 1 kid or you might have twins. There's a chance to have twins, and then they might have they all have their own classes too. So you can choose between like It's straight up class based kids. So you can have ones that are like mages, guardians, like paladins.
And I saw something that like kids can like turn into like robots.
What? Yes, if you have to like if you get this bar to a certain point, you can select this option on the attack menu where it turns them all into like this mech that has like obviously stronger spells and better defense and attack. So basically, like you want to use that during the boss battles. So yeah, they do.
So your little star children can kind of like all merge into like a giant mechanoid.
Yeah,
because of reasons.
Mecha babies.
It's more than just it's more than just battle though. It's that when you have these kids, so they all at the beginning of the game they all have like a level cap to them, and then obviously if you're your relationship status with the other girls as it goes up because there's levels. The level cap for the kids goes up too, and so once you reach that cap, which it turns like a star, you can make them go independent. And it's kind of this funny thing where it's like I'll see you later, Dad. I'll hope to see you when you become an adult. And so they go off, and then the city's level also goes up when you make them go independent because they're going off to become business people. And then you unlock other places to visit, and then more items in the stores.
It's so weird.
It's got a lot more depth
high right now.
It's got more depth than you think, and it's got some interesting things too. Besides like leveling up the town and all these things, it's that it's kind of nice when you're running around a dungeon and you have 9 kids all running around with you, like just like little, like they just run around, little models running around with you, like these kids, and they say things from time to time. It's like, Daddy, can I hold your hand? And it's all
It
this.
sounds like a trip to the park. It's like, all right, kids, let's go to the dungeon. Come on.
I kind of wish they would go so far as to have them, like, the kids run up and hit at a monster and then run away. Because they usually run out and come back to you and, like, what are you doing?
Please
Get
tell
back
me you can have a star dog in this game.
It's tough. It's no dogs. It doesn't go that far. Although,
You might as well. I don't understand.
some of the stories are interesting, like some of the female characters, their stories are interesting. But
Can you play as a girl? I feel like this would be much more interesting if you could also play as a girl.
no, but as I mentioned, you can get it with guys.
That makes no sense.
Why? Why? They said they figured out a way.
This game is sexist.
How can it be sexist when you have it with guys and girls?
Because you're not a girl, and I don't even know. Whatever.
It's
wait, so
there was like a
the game
joke
sounds
girl said
actually
like
somewhat
get with
interesting.
the crotch burning. It's like friction. That's what she
Oh,
said.
God,
One of the characters.
stop.
And it's like it's funny because after they come up with it, it's like
Oh, God.
these other people in our class are talking. They want to know if we're dating. I tell them no. It's just something
forever
they
changed.
found out. It's your relationship with Chloe, right? You just stay with Chloe. It's I'm not interested in dudes. It's fine.
So this game sounds interesting. What's bad about this game? I need to know.
I have to like pull up my review because it's I've been playing so many other games lately. Well, I mean,
Well,
a couple
what's
of
the most
things.
glaring flaw?
The glaring flaw is the dungeons are kind of palette swapping. It's none of it. It's not like Etrian Odyssey where you can be outside or in this crowd like this building or something like that. It's all these straight corridors.
Is it like Persona 3?
A little bit, but it's very much exact same layout, exact same, like, they obviously have randomized, quote unquote, but it's a lot of like, okay, you have this small box area where these monsters are, and you go to any of these doors, boom, you're in a hallway. And so they're all like that. Like, every single one is that you have one area with the enemies, and then you're in a hallway. Enemies, hallway, and so on and so forth. So the monsters aren't very out there, but the plot, especially towards the end, kind of falls apart. Like, who the hell are these guys?
Wait, you actually play this game for the story?
I beat the game, but no, the character development is fine. It's the plot itself which is like, I didn't really care.
You have me sold. I'll check out the demo for this game.
It's the demo apparently leads into the main game, so
Okay, that's sort of cool.
you can actually carry it over. It's worth trying it out. I gave it a 7 on the site, but
You also
the
rate
music
it
is
high,
good.
so this is probably a 6.
It's got, like I said, it's very Persona. Like the music, it's got a lot of J-pop in it. Like the music,
Wait,
it's like even the
Is this written
scenes
by
during the
Shoji Mokuro? Or I forget
No.
his name.
No.
It's different, but it's got like in the battles there's a
This
female-
game was developed by Spike Chunsoft, right?
yeah,
Oh, is
Atlas.
it really?
Yeah.
it's a spy game.
What
so
the
it's,
shit are they developing and publishing this crap when we can be having Zero Escape 3?
Yes.
What is wrong with the world? This is bullshit. I quit.
This, to be fair, they also made Conception 1, and it's
Wait, I thought it was just called Conception 2. I didn't
No.
actually think
oh, it's a sequel. It's a sequel, but it's a standalone.
I heard
It's
the
like-
first
it's
one
like
is a
a
lot better, actually.
The first one was never released.
Yeah,
It was
I know.
never localized.
Oh.
This is the second game, but apparently it was just a small connection in like ideas, but not anything else.
What system was the first one on?
PSP?
DS.
I thought it was PSP.
Oh, was it PSP? Oh, yes. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking this one.
I feel like I just watched a scene out of comedy. That's a DS PSP. Oh, wait, no, it's a PSP.
I forgot it was PSP. Yeah, it was PSP only.
This one is 3DS and Vita, but you played the
Yeah.
Vita version, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so apparently-
Best system in the world.
Apparently, the issue with it's a dungeon crawler, but the problem is that you have no control. There's like no Vita or 3DS functionality at all.
That's good.
Like,
Because
someone told me that.
Touchscreen.
Well, I kind of like it though when like especially dungeon crawlers when you can map something or like you can make like notes and stuff like that.
Shit, that's fucking ingenious.
Yeah, that's what happens in Etrian Odyssey 4 and in other Etrian Odyssey titles. You can make notes in certain spots to, like, say, okay, this is a space where you can recover your health at any point. So, but in this game, there's no functionality at all with the Vita touchscreen, so you can't tap something or anything like that. You can't easily get through the menu or something. And then on the 3DS, apparently, like, nothing's navigatable. Like, you can't mess with the map on the bottom screen or anything like that. It's very limited on that stuff. So
I'll check
which
it
is
out.
yeah. Other than that, it And the battle system's kind of cool too. I like it. It's a lot of tug of war stuff, especially like unlocking chains, and then you're forcing the enemy down the line, and you have a lot more time to attack. So, and it's all about fighting on other sides. But anyway, that's enough consumption too.
Yeah. Enough about. Oh, actually, no. Let's keep the pedophilia train running because
it's not pedophilia. You're not having it with girls that are underage.
There was another game with children in it, or
you're both in high school. It's fine.
Children.
Yeah. Well, actually, there was another game with a child in it.
Child of light.
It's not a Star Child. No. What is it called?
Not a Star Child of Light.
Child of Light.
Child of Light. Yeah. You reviewed the game, Adam.
Right. Yes, I played it on the Wii U, but it's on basically every system that's not a handheld.
I was like the
most interesting thing is like this game was not made.
It's a JRPG, but it's made by Ubisoft of everybody.
Ubisoft Montreal.
Ubisoft. Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, is it Ubisoft Montreal? Really?
Yeah, same creative team as Far Cry 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Same writer as Far Cry 3.
Wait, is it better written than Far Cry 3?
Not Blood Dragon, though.
Not really.
Well, damn it! I think would it be a JRPG without a shitty story, right?
Well, I wouldn't say the story is shitty. It's just it was kind of in the background, and I kind of just shrugged it off. Yeah. So Child of Light is definitely an interesting game because it's just like it's this JRPG styled game made by Ubisoft. It's like a small downloadable title using the Rayman engine, UbiArt, and it's just kind of. Yeah, so it's just like, okay, what the heck is this game? Like, it just has like kind of just weird, how it was even made in the first place. But yeah, it's a side-scrolling RPG. It's some people, have the idea of is it a platformer? Like, is it like a Valkyrie profile, or is there Metroid elements? And no, it's nothing like it's not really a platformer at all. Everything works in a 2D like viewpoint, so you only move left or right, up or down, but only in a 2D plane. But you in this plane, you're collecting lots of things, so you're kind of searching nooks and crannies and around the environment. You're looking for chests which have items, and you can get these. There's a crafting system that uses these gems. They're called oculi, but I'll just call them gems. And there is no equipment in this game. You just use these gems that you put on, like for your weapon or your equipment.
Oh, I already like the sound of this.
And you also can find like stat-up items around as well. So that's basically when you're not in battle, what you are doing is you're kind of just exploring around the world looking for these chests and these stat-up items. And kind of like in typical Ubisoft fashion, there's a limited amount of them, so you can collect them all, and it's marked down in like the journal, all these collectibles.
So it's like looking for flags and
it's typical of Ubisoft. There's these lots and lots of stuff to collect, but you don't have to do. Like I didn't bother with it, making sure I got every single one.
But is there a benefit?
Well, yeah, definitely, because crafting gems, you can the crafting system. It might sound complicated if I explain it just here, but if you just spend like a minute with it, it'll make sense. You basically get these gems, and they can be like small rubies, and you can mix 3 rubies together to make a medium-sized ruby. And if you have 3 medium-sized rubies, you can mix those together to make a large one.
Okay. Is it randomized, or is there formulaic, or? It's
not random.
Okay.
And then you can mix like a red and a blue together to make a purple, and you can mix like a blue and a yellow to make a green or something. So it's pretty. Right. Obvious, and there's nothing really fancy about it. And like I said, it makes sense just like playing with it for like a minute. Like definitely not a complicated crafting system at all, which is a good thing. It doesn't for a small downloadable game, I don't think it really needed anything more complicated than that. So yes, you want to collect these things because making bigger and more gems is always helpful. And of course, stat-up items, they're stat-up items. They're going to make you better.
The gems come with effects too, obviously.
Yes, for example, some gems, like a ruby, can add fire elemental to your attack or fire elemental to your defense, or like if you put it in like an accessory spot, it might raise your magic power or reduce damage when you're under 20% health or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's different gems of different colors, and they do different things depending on where you put them. For example, one gem that I used is diamonds, which if you put that on your one slot, it actually gives you more EXP. So I kind of put that there to try to, get as much EXP as possible efficiently.
That's how I always do it. Anytime you see the ones that give you XP boosts, I was like, I'm going to get that. Put
it on as early as possible to try to maximize. Right. Anyways, so it's a pretty simple system, and I don't know, you might criticize it for being too simple, but I think for a game like this, it doesn't need to be any more complicated than what it is. Now, how the battle system works, it's a lot like Grandia. Some people compare it to like Final Fantasy ATB, and it has that kind of look to it, just from a screenshot, but it's really more like Grandia, where everything is controlled by a timeline, and every participant in battle has an icon on the timeline, and it moves slowly from like a wait period to a cast point, and then when it hits the cast point, everything pauses for a second, so you can choose your action. And then depending on what action you do, your icon has to go from the cast point to the end of the timeline. And, some actions are fast, some actions are slow. And kind of the thing that makes this Grandia-like is if you hit a person who is in the middle of casting, they'll be interrupted and sent back to the wait period of the timeline. So what this means is when you attack and when you defend is extremely important to look up. To be aware of.
So is it like FF10?
Not like FF10. It's not totally turn-based. Grandia is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically every action has a casting time. So when you tell somebody to do something, it'll take a little bit of time for it to happen.
Even attacking does. So.
Yeah, even attacks. Magic spells, buffs, anything. And now if you hit another person, like an enemy, while they are casting, no matter what it is, they'll be interrupted. But the same goes for you. If you're healing, if you're attacking, if you're casting a buff, if someone hits you while you're doing that, you'll get interrupted and your attack won't go off and you'll have to basically wait some more. So what you can do is you can defend, and when you defend, your next turn comes up quickly. So it's not like you're wasting a turn, but
right. If your opponent can't go in between your next action, then you can cast the magic freely, pretty much.
Yeah, so you have to basically know when to defend and when to attack, and like some characters will move faster than others. And another key element of the game is that you get a lot of different characters in the game. Your main character is Aurora. I think like Aurora and then like 6 others.
Really? How long is this game?
It's 10 to 15 hours.
10, 15 hours, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you get like a character every 2 hours?
Yeah.
Pretty quick. Like in the first hour, maybe hour and a half, you get a second character.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. And you get you always have 2 characters on screen. So it's kind of like Paper Mario, actually, in that way.
Switch out.
Oh, so it's 2 the max then?
Yes. They can have it at a time. But one key thing about the game is that you can switch out characters at any time with no turn penalty. And so what that means is, let's just say I have someone who's ready to cast, but I need someone else's ability. Like, I'd rather use this person. You can switch them out, and they'll be ready to go right then. You don't have to wait. So what this means is I was switching out characters all the time. And on the harder difficulty mode, you kind of have to. And since you can only have 2 people out at a time, but you can switch them out all the time without any penalty. So you're basically fighting with your whole party, in a sense, just really only 2 out at a time. And every character gets the same amount of EXP all the time, even if they're dead after battle.
Yeah, I like that.
So you don't have to worry about anything like superficial, like, oh, I got to make sure that this character is in battle or that this character is alive. It's just like, no, all that matters is that you use the characters that make that battle easier for you, so you can deplete the enemy's health to 0, which is as it should be.
They do that in Conception too, and I appreciate when games do that. It's like, I don't want to have to waste my healing items all the time.
So to be more specific, like sometimes, like if I'm attacking enemies that are very fast, like when my character is ready to attack, I'll switch them out to the Jester character, who is also very, very fast, so that when he attacks, he can interrupt them. And then maybe on the next turn... There's actually 2 Jester characters. There's a male and a female. Yeah.
That's spoilers.
Sort of spoilers.
He spoiled himself. You were trying to correct him. That's what happens.
My bad.
And then, like, maybe on the next turn, you might switch out the Jester right away for, the magic character if you need to use an elemental attack. So the fact that you can switch them out all the time is actually, to be honest, is necessary to win on the harder difficulty. You can't just rely on a certain character because different characters have different abilities, so you need to use those as part of their role. So it ends up being, a very engaging battle system where you kind of have to think all the time, like, what ability could I use right now to, either deal damage, or sometimes it's best to have a character swapped out to do like a slowdown spell on the enemy, because speed is key in this game because everything goes to the timeline.
Right.
Sometimes people focus too much on do damage all the time, but sometimes it really makes things easier if you have the character who can slow down the enemy and basically drastically reduce the damage you're taking.
Well, yeah, and you also get a fairy character right at the start of the game who helps you. It's like basically it acts like a mouse cursor.
Yeah, so you have the two characters, but then you also get a fairy who's like a tertiary character. They're not really a party member, but what they do is you can control him with the right stick or with the touchpad on the Vita or on the Wii U. And so, like, while all this other stuff is going around, this fairy character kind of interacts totally separate from the timeline, and he can slow down enemy icons. So you can basically have him slowing down enemies to try to give yourself the advantage to maybe get your action off before them to interrupt them. So it's kind of this combination of this real-time fairy that you're controlling and as well as kind of paying attention to this timeline. And
there's also the around the battle. There's like at least on the normal mode. There's bushes that contain health and mana and stuff like that. So you can just grab that if you need it at a certain point. It's like once you use them, they're gone. So you got to be careful. But that helps a lot too.
Yep. And so the fairy guy is kind of either slowing down enemies or collecting these health gems while you're controlling, like, paying attention to the timeline. So it ends up being a lot of things you're thinking about. So, yes, it's turn-based, but it happens kind of all, you kind of have to keep track of things all the time. So it ends up being a pretty engaging battle system, and it doesn't really wear out its welcome considering the game is only like 10 hours long or so. Boss fights oftentimes there's often like a main enemy and then a couple of helper enemies, so you have to know like how to deal with that. Sometimes it's best to take out a helper even if the main enemy can revive them soon. So it's just, there's a lot of choice in like how you approach the combat because there's many different characters to use. Now if the game were longer, or maybe like a full-fledged game, you might hope there'd be a little bit more to the battle system. But I think for like this scope that they were kind of aiming for, I think it works well. And then lastly, I know Simon was excited about this, was like you get a skill tree for each character. And now it's not really a skill tree like anything complex, like a Diablo or anything.
Or like a license board.
No, it's basically
well, it looks like a license board, but it's not.
License boards.
Each character has like 3 different paths you can take them down as they get skill points. Now, most of the things along the path are just stat ups, so those aren't too interesting. But different characters have different abilities. Like just the easy one, for instance, is you get a mage character who has fire, water, and lightning abilities. So he has one path for each. So you can send him down a particular path to power up one ability, or you can kind of try to evenly send him down all 3 abilities or all 3 paths at the same time. And then like the jester character, you can send him down a path to improve his attack or another path to improve his healing. So there isn't a ton of customization you can do, but you can send a little focus on what each character is doing, basically how you use them. Like for instance, I use my jester a lot for healing, so I sent him down the healing path to make sure he got like the better healing spells and the revive spells earlier. Because I'd oftentimes just bring them in for healing, so that's what I used them for. So you do get a little bit of control over how your characters kind of grow. It's, again, very simple, kind of like the crafting system. I think it fits well with the scope of the game. Nothing too complex or, needlessly complex. So all in all, I think it's kind of a very tight package. My biggest criticism of the game is that the writing it's all done in rhyme.
Yeah, that's incredibly distracting to me.
It's the thing about the rhyme is that it's all in rhyme. Like
everything. It's like a fairy tale. Everything they talk about, everything is in rhyme.
Yes, even from the back and forth, like Aurora and her Firefly talk to each other all the time, but it's always in rhyme.
I think
correct each other.
This is more a preference thing than
the most
an outright
annoying
bad thing, I think. But
I just kind of it didn't really detract from the game for me. It just kind of it didn't do anything.
I mean, the way it is for me is I'm like, okay, how is this going to rhyme with the next thing? Yeah. And I end up not paying attention to what they're actually saying. So
it's like when the first character appears, the one that you come in later, they correct her in rhyme. Like, don't you mean this?
Yeah. One of the characters like gimmick is that he can't rhyme, so he always fails like the fourth line of a stanza, and then another character will fix him, which is kind of funny, I guess, or amusing.
I think it was cute.
Now, and it does kind of get a little bit old. Now, the worst part about the rhyming is that the meter is not constant. So, good poems will kind of have like a specific amount of syllables, each line should be, just to kind of make it fit well. In this, it's just kind of random. So while the rhymes work, it's sometimes like a line will be like a lot shorter or smaller, and it just doesn't flow very well. So I just kind of, shrugged a lot of it off. And in terms of the narrative itself, it's a fairy tale. So it's actually a lot like it's kind of like a Sleeping Beauty, because it deals with Aurora and her mother and her sisters. But I won't go into any more details than that. But
I didn't know about that.
And so it's kind of, it's nothing. None of the characters are like super memorable. They kind of all have their gimmicks. So it's not like you're gonna come out of the game saying like, man, that guy was really cool, or that guy was interesting. It's just like, man, they're just kind of different people you can use in battle. That's really what they are. So nothing really fancy there. But in terms of like the gameplay, the Grandia like battle system, and these kind of different subsystems like the crafting and the skill tree, I think it's a pretty tight knit game, and it doesn't overstay its welcome at around 10 hours, so I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, from what I'm getting though is that it's not much of an RPG either though. It's like you basically have a skill tree and a little bit of the battle system, but that's about it. It's not really much of an RPG at all. Like you said, you can only equip gems. You can't change your equipment at all. You can't change, like the stats are set pretty much when they go up.
You get level ups, and level ups will give you stats. Now, the way that it's unlike maybe a longer RPG is that, there is maybe a missing sense of progression.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, it's a set stat boost. You can't, like, put, like, I want this and this, or this and this. It's like the game sets it for you, which I guess is fun.
And there isn't a lot of, customization. Like, some RPGs, there's lots of different ways you can approach battles. In this game, like I said, on hard mode, in battle, you're going to be kind of switching characters in and out a lot to kind of make sure you get the abilities off that you want. But that's really how battles work. There's no other way you can. There really isn't any other strategy that is workable. That's kind of how you have to do it. So it's some games. It might be able to tailor it to different play styles. But in this game, it's like it's either this way or you're not going to like the game. So
that's true.
So otherwise though, for just like a kind of a title you can complete and finish on a weekend, I definitely recommend it. And the battle system is fun. Maybe a little bit sluggish, but
you sold it, and then you slowly started to make me not want it. I don't know.
I think it's worth it just because it's $15 and it's from
that's
what
how
I
much.
played.
That's what I was going to ask. Is how much it was.
$15 is cheap.
Game.
I guess.
No, I definitely recommend it. It's battles can sometimes even get frantic. I definitely recommend playing on hard.
That's the thing is that they apparently have patched
the difficulty levels were called normal and hard, and I played like 4 chapters or so on normal, and I was kind of bored out of my mind and then I realized like I never used a single item. Like I was collecting all these items. Like I said, there's chests everywhere.
Can you change it mid-game?
Yes, you can.
Oh shit!
And so I decided to change it to hard, and I enjoyed it a lot more because
it's really easy.
You actually had to think about what you were doing in battle, and you actually had to use items or sometimes. Now it's still not like
brutal.
Yeah. nail biting hard or anything like that. It's just it ends up just being a lot more upbeat and sometimes even frantic. I kind of always structure my game criticism as I talk about what I like first and what I don't like second. But so personally, like in terms of like the narrative and stuff, like that didn't really detract for me. It's just kind of like I don't really care for it, so I just kind of shrugged it off. But in terms of the gameplay, it was it is what it is. So
how's the soundtrack?
Oh, the music is great.
It's great. It's amazing. I love it.
It's written by a 24-year-old girl from Montreal. I guess she goes by, it's French, so I'm probably not going to pronounce this correctly. It's like Core de Pirate or something.
Hero.
Well, I don't know how you pronounce that in French or whatever. But it's like melancholic and solemnly at times. So unlike a Final Fantasy, which is, kind of bombastic at times, or it's kind of very calming and soothing, and it visually is very, it's a very, very pretty game. Like you're moving your character like through a painting. So in terms of presentation, the game is top notch. And that alone, I think, made people, really fond of it. But it's not just, a pretty game on the surface. Battle mechanics are engaging on the higher difficulty. If you're looking for a game with a large level of customization or with a really deep subsystems, this isn't the game for that. But I don't think it needs to be.
Okay, sounds good. I like it. I like the sound of it. Wait, one more quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this game better? Is this game's OST better than Bravely Default's OST?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Is it a JRPG though? I
don't understand why they call it a JRPG. That makes
it's JRPG inspired.
Do you want to have that discussion?
I don't want to go through that.
I was trying to start it, but I guess y'all.
I don't really.
Whimsies.
It's so stupid how people think they know what a JRPG is. When you read those discussions, it's like, no, you don't know what it is. It doesn't mean it's from Japan, so it's Japanese RPG. It's like
I think it's best to speak in specifics and not speak in general terms. This is a game developed by Ubisoft, inspired by classic JRPGs. That's what it is.
Yeah. There you go. You leave it at that.
So, anyways,
yeah. So
check it out. It's on basically every console, so...
Really? Oh, yeah.
Except handhelds.
Wait, This is the most important question. Is this game playable on the Vita?
Yes, from remote play for PS4, yes.
Okay.
There's also a demo, so if you want to just try it out as a demo, you can do that.
How good is the demo, actually? Like, how representative is the demo in comparison to, like, the full game?
I don't know. I only played the full game, so I don't know what the demo is exactly.
I don't want you to help to me.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, might as well try it, I haven't played the Conception 2 demo myself, so.
We do have reviews of both Conception 2 and Child of Light on the site.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep, on the site. Check it out. Mine doesn't really go spoilerly, so you can check that out. So, what else? So, I mean, I don't want to dominate this conversation. David, what have you been playing?
Well, I've also been playing Child of Light.
Why did you chime in? What do you think of Child of Light so far?
I like it. I mean, you guys have pretty much covered all my thoughts. The rhyming thing is weird. The gameplay is too easy, but I'm gonna change it to hard.
Now that you know.
Yeah, and I like flying around.
Have you played anything else besides Child of Light, though?
Yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy X, 10-2 HD. Just recently finished 10 after doing a lot of the extras and clocking in over 100 hours.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
10 is
Then again,
a
it's
lot
probably
of
like
preparation.
100. I got 500. Someone says.
I'm sure someone
and that's
does.
the HD version, like impossible. Just like they did it anyway.
Yeah.
Every single waking moment.
I remember when I didn't do this with the HD version, but on my PS2 version, years and years ago, I did a ton of Blitzball, like making sure like all my characters like learned all the different Blitzball moves. I spent like probably 100 hours in that alone.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever clocked a game over 100 hours, unless it's like
really?
Phantasy Star Online 1 I did, and Final Fantasy 11 I did. That's it. Ragnarok Online maybe, but that's like...
Ask Simon how many hours he's put into League of Legends.
multiply.
Oh,
10,000.
okay. So I did a calculation, guys. It's actually pretty funny. I have 850 something wins, or I think actually 880 something.
40 minutes a game or something.
I'm gonna do the calculation right now. I have 800 some. Let's say I have 850 wins. I have 700 something losses. So let's say I have 750 losses.
Jeez, you suck.
That's 1,600 total games. That's 1,600 total games. On average, each game will take roughly 35 minutes. But let's say for the sake of, let's say 40. So times 40, that puts me at 64,000 minutes. So I'm going to divide that by...
So that's like
1,000 hours?
1,000 hours?
Right, 1,066.6 repeating hours. So I'm going to divide that by 24, because that's how many days I've played of it.
I could have learned piano in that time.
I've played 44.4 repeating days of League of Legends.
That's not as much as Final Fantasy 11. I have 65 days of Final Fantasy 11 in me.
And this is just for normal. I haven't counted 3v3s or Dominion or all this other shit on
the games that aren't like just waiting and playing.
I played way too much of this game. But actually, I think my second most played game of all, well, maybe my third, but I think my second most played game of all time might be Tales of Vesperia. I clocked in 200 hours.
Jeez, I can't spend that much time with the JRPG.
On the 360 version alone, and I clocked in roughly about 225-ish on the Japanese version.
See, I got every ending in Chrono Trigger, but that game is like 20 hours long, and getting to those endings sometimes like just about at the beginning of the game. And so I must have spent like maybe 50 hours tops in one like long session.
I loved Vesperia. I love Vesperia. It's one of my favorite Tales games. Granted, I love Graces more, but I spent less time with Graces. So.
To be fair, this is coming from a guy who's never gotten a platinum trophy and isn't much of a completionist.
Oh, I've only gotten one platinum trophy ever in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm not proud of the game which I've platinum trophied. So.
What was it?
It's FF13.
Oh.
I platinumed it in the Japanese.
I heard that's an easy one, though. So.
I platinumed on Japanese, too. So, hey, it was hard on Japanese, all right, because I couldn't read the fucking shit.
Well, yeah.
That's your own fault.
Yeah.
So,
that was...
What are we talking about? It's like,
we should talk about Tales of Hysteria. No? Okay.
I don't really have much to contribute to that. I'm not much of a Tales guy, so...
We don't need to talk about it long, but basically they announced recently that it's going to play a lot like Graces, so it's like that battle system.
Backflip.
Yeah,
That's
like a CC system, dodging combos. Like it's not a full range of movement like Vesperia.
Or Exilia, right?
It's more like targeting, like straight
it's very radial, circular.
Now they haven't said anything about like if it has like those skill trees that Graces had. Like you'd go from one skill to the next, and depending on which skills you did, what effects they did. So we don't know any details on that, but we know it's going to be something like Graces, not like Zilla.
They did make the point that spirits were going to play very, very different from humans.
Also dragons.
Right.
They're also focusing on dragons.
Which, I don't know how that's going to work because they've revealed like 4 spirits so far, right? 4? Is it 4?
They've revealed 4 characters. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by spirits.
Wait, so they revealed... Okay, so there's 2 human characters that were showed so far, which were Slay and Alicia.
And then there's 3 other characters, and like each character has like an element of some sort. Like there's the water character, the earth character, and the fire character.
Yeah.
So that's what we know. So we don't know a ton, but
or that we know Persona 5, pretty much.
Right.
It is.
Persona 5 is what, like the shackles of.
That's what the shackles around like the chair legs that could easily you could just lift the chair and it's gone.
If there's no trailer at E3, is it safe to assume?
It's dead.
No. Is it safe to assume that this is not coming out this year in Japan? Like, even though they said it, like...
Is it serious? They said next year, wasn't it?
No, they said winter 2014 for Japan, right?
I'm surprised it'd be that close. Hysteria.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Persona now.
Well, Persona 5 winner, they said 2015 already for Persona, so it doesn't matter. But
2014 for Japan, but we still haven't seen anything.
Yeah. On the website Persona 5, it said 2015 though.
For the US.
For the US,
yeah.
For
the West, yeah, Japan. I'd see it coming this year.
It's just funny how we haven't seen anything yet.
They've announced stuff in July.
Hysteria, which is coming out and doesn't have a release date for this year.
they've announced stuff in Persona in July that came out that fall, so it's not like it's completely unheard of.
I guess, but like I don't know. I'm still
Persona 4 was announced in July and came out later that year here. So, well, not announced in July, but announced for localization.
If there's no trailer at E3, I'm just saying I have very little confidence that this game is going to come out in this year for Japan.
It's at the same time, like, it doesn't matter because they already have a plot for us, like a plan for us. But as long as they get the time that they need to put into those games, because right now it's like, what are they going to do next to capitalize on the success of the previous games? Persona 5, they're going to,
I say that they sort of like, let's call it, the Persona series like fell into the same rut as the Kingdom Hearts series in the sense that like they sort of let the popularity just like dwindle, sort of hard.
Well, they're kind of. I mean, Persona 4 was a huge success, and
it's still as popular as it ever was.
They're making another anime.
Yeah. Okay. What the shit?
But at the same time, you look at like the popularity charts in Japan, and it's like Persona 5 is way up there, like top 3. Like it's always competing with Final Fantasy 15.
It's going to be hard for that to, I think, live up to expectation.
That's with all
Persona
games.
4
I don't know. I think they waited too long.
We're talking about all the games. Persona 5, Tales of Hysteria, and Final Fantasy 15. It's the same issue with all of them, really.
I disagree because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes for like.
Well, actually,
you're agreeing with me, aren't you?
No. It's just.
I do think Persona 5. I do think Persona 5 maybe is taking a little bit too long, but Persona 4 when it came out. I think people liked it, but Persona still wasn't that big of a thing. And then, some time passed, and kind of the word of mouth, like, hey, this Persona 4 game is really good. And it gave people a chance to play it, and then it was re-released, so people picked that up. And I think that some time passed allowed Persona 4 to get even more popular. But I do agree to some extent that Persona 5 taking this long is maybe not a good thing.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, Atlas was going through so much during that time, though. It's like Catherine was supposed to be that game that was like, well, we know how to work with HD consoles now. Let's put out this game. But then all that other stuff happened.
With Gamebryo.
Yeah.
It's that they obviously changed it. It's that they were trying to learn how to use the consoles.
Fuck it.
It's about learning to use the consoles. I don't know about the whole engine thing. It's also the fact that, being sold off like that and then all the issues with index holdings and all that in Sega. But at the same time, they obviously saw that there's still money to be made with Persona 4. It's like, why squander that now? Especially with Persona 4 Arena and all that stuff. So
Persona 4 Dancing.
Yeah, Persona 4 Dance All Night. I want to play it. It's half the music. That and Persona Q. I really want to play Persona Q. That game looks fun.
I never played Etrian Odyssey, but Persona Q is...
Etrian Odyssey 4 is pretty damn good. Like, I enjoyed Etrian Odyssey 4 quite a bit. Like, the soundtrack is probably one of the best, like, in the entire generation. Like, it's amazing, the music.
I've heard.
It's got the guy who did the soundtrack for Streets of Rage 2, who did it. And it's the first time he did an orchestrated soundtrack, and it blows doors off.
So
anyway, yeah. So what else do we got here? So, I don't know. Well, we can talk about Demon Gaze.
Yeah, Demon Gaze came out this month. I've only started it. It's a dungeon crawler, and it's first-person dungeon crawler, kind of like the old SMT games, like SMT Strange Journey, where you don't really see your characters as you move, but you have this first-person view in like a grid-like, environment, going through these dungeon areas, and you get different characters that you basically get to create, which I guess is kind of like an Etrian Odyssey game. Their class and their equipment and their race, even. You kind of have full control over that. And there's a front row and a back row in battle. So it's kind of it has a lot of the typical trappings of a dungeon crawler. It's a pretty nifty game when it's not being creepy. There's a lot of...
To me, though, I mean, I've played almost as much as you have at this point, and it's just played sparingly. I mean, It's got some of the same trappings that you would expect, but I think the art is probably the biggest appeal for that game, the art style, especially because, like, just starting off, you get to choose your character, and there's, like, how many other, like, 25, 30 different characters to choose from, all with their own art style. The only thing,
45.
45? Oh, yeah, so it's got a ton of them, and you also can download the Disgaea DLC for the first month, which you should grab it, even if you don't know if you'll buy it. Yeah, definitely buy it, grab it, because it's free for now. Even if you may not get Demon Gaze until later, it's like, why not download it now and then have it on your purchased items list? But the only thing is that your character is always referred to as a male.
Yep.
And so I have a female party with a female main character, always referred to as a dude. that's always kind of, it's like, why couldn't they just, throw in an S in there? It's like, it felt kind of lazy, but that was my only issue so far. I was just like, one thing.
Well, the general structure of the game is you have a kind of a home base. It's an inn, like a hotel. And there's all these different quirky characters in the inn that, do different things. And you can talk to them. And they have quests, and there's a quest list. And then when you leave this inn, there's different kind of dungeons that you can crawl through that I kind of mentioned already. And then in these dungeons, you are looking for demons. And with these demons, you can they can effectively join your team. They're not one of your party members, but kind of like another part of the party, and they do different skills to either hurt the enemy or boost your team.
It's completely computer controlled, yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of have your party that you control, and then you kind of have a demon that's kind of like helping your party. So I'm at the point where I only have 3 demons that can help me, but they all do different things, and not only in battle, but out of battle. Like, one of them reveals, like, secret walls to knock down. One of them makes it so you don't take damage from like, hazards in the dungeons, and that's the one I use most of the time.
Yeah, you always stick with that one, yeah.
And then, like, the thing with equipment that's kind of weird is, like, most of your equipment you get from the dungeons.
Yeah.
You find these little portals that basically release an enemy, but you basically put a little gem on there. Like, if you want a sword, you put a sword gem on there, or a helmet gem, or a shield gem, or whatever you want. And you fight the enemy, and then they'll drop that type of equipment so you can give to your characters. You're not really buying equipment from shops, so you get these gems, and you kind of get this randomized drop, from these encounters. So you kind of have to deal with what you're given.
And they're straightforward. Yeah, they're pretty. You say that pretty much off the bat. It's like, you're not going to really be buying weapons here. You're mostly going to be selling that stuff to me because I can give you money. And it's important because money plays such a huge part in that game that you definitely want to use those portals to the best effects, because because you can put up to 3 gems on each spot, and the more gems you put, the more items that could drop. Yeah, the better. And obviously there's, like, rare gems that you might come across that can drop better items, and even things called artifact gems that unlock skills, either passive or active, that you can use during battle and stuff like that. So,
and the reason why you need money, like we said, you're not buying weapons a bunch, but you need money for these gems, as well as
rent.
Rent. You have to pay rent for your inn, so you have to always have some.
Wait, you have to pay for rent?
Yeah, because at the start of the game, you have one character, and then as soon as you get a second character, because everything
you have to rent out their room.
Yeah, basically a home base is an inn. And so you go there, and then you start off with just your room that you're given, and that's fine. You still have some rent to pay. It's just like...
so you have to pay for your allies, pretty much.
Yeah, you pay for a new room, and then you recruit a new character with that. So, and it goes up.
Yep.
Yeah, it goes up based on...
I think it's based on your level.
Yeah, it's based on level, but it's also like a
how many
sequential...
party members?
Yeah. Every new one, it's like either goes like 1,000, then like 3,000, 5,000, I forget the name of the currency, but dollars.
So it's a pretty...
Dollars?
It does...
I'm saying I'm playing them. It's not dollars. Gold pieces, what have you.
Okay.
Kind of like with Conception, maybe there is or what Simon would call otaku bait. Like, for instance, when I'm talking to the inn manager, and to prove she's human, she starts stripping, and it's like, why?
Good way.
It's funny. It's weird. And it's especially the little maid assistant. She's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a cat maid. So
yeah, you catch her sniffing the girl's panties.
This is called Otaku Bait the podcast.
It's weird. What can you do? That's what Demon Gaze. It's like the art is a lot of the art is like halfway sexual. So it's
damn it. Why did you do this to me, man?
It's a lot like say the male art. It's not quite power fantasy, but it's got some great looking art. Like everything looks clean and crisp. It looks amazing, especially like the crazy monster designs could be fun to look at. But like going back to the money thing though, is that so it costs money to add more characters. It costs money to pretty much do anything.
And you can buy equipment. It's just that you
it's not that good.
It's better to use these gems to get these drops. So it's got some interesting ideas that it can be fun if you like dungeon crawlers and can put up with some of the otaku bait.
I do. I think the helper demons are pretty cool because it's that you can either summon them at the beginning of the battle or they may just randomly show up. And they have like a limit of how long they can be in battle. So if you summon at the beginning, they're there until you have to send them back into their, let's say, a Pokeball, just like a return, and then you're back there. But if you leave them out too long, they can go berserk, and then they can either attack your party or obviously, they're already not under any control, and so they're completely computer based, and so you can't tell them what to do. They can do whatever they want. But as Adam mentioned, each demon has their own specialty. Like with Mars, she can go ahead and has the best attack, and then you have
Kronos who does help or defense.
Yeah, and then so it's a lot of that, and the battles can be pretty hectic, and it's a difficult game. Like it's really difficult.
Yes.
Even on easy, you could get killed pretty simply. So. But
how is it curved though? Does it get easier, or is it the difficulty?
It starts off.
We wrote some, or Elizabeth wrote some tips on the site. Apparently, it seems to be pretty good. Ramp up in difficulty. Apparently, there's a kind of a point in some castle that I'm not at yet, with that kind of is where that hits you really in the face with a difficulty spike. But I'm not there yet.
Yeah, and you can go to this person at the end and change the difficulty level to like the easiest. But even at these, the basement girl, but even at easy, the game you can be killed pretty. And it's obviously like a dungeon crawler. You expect like your health's low, you die and that's it. Save points, you have to go to those portals we mentioned. Those are the only places you can save the game. But I feel like they're all over the place, and once you use them once.
Saving's not really an issue.
Yeah, once you use them once and defeat the monster on that portal, you can use them whenever. So I never had a problem with that, and you can always reload your save at any point. So
yeah. Otherwise, the only other thing I need to say about that is that the story is not really that interesting at all.
Most dungeon crawlers don't have it.
Yeah. There is one. There's some text to sit through, and there are characters that talk, and it is just blah.
It's your honesty. It's the Yggdrasil tree just killing life or something. But in this, this is you're not here for the story, but you're here for mostly the art. The music's alright, but it's mostly the art.
Lots of vocals, lots of high pitch.
Yeah, a lot of anime music, but it's
good anime music or bad anime music.
I think it's decent. It's not anything.
You think anything is good? We need to ask the expert here. Adam, is it good?
The expert.
No, I don't think the music is very good.
Okay, good.
It's like I said, it's not. It's middle.
But actually, I need to get some validation. Do you think Persona music is good?
It's different from Persona.
It's not Persona music.
No, I just wanted to know if you knew what good music was.
It's mood music. It's not really. It's been that it's not like bombastic like shredding guitars and stuff like that.
It's not upbeat like Persona.
It's not Eternal Odyssey music.
It's vocal it's kind of weird.
Okay.
It fits into the mood of the game, but it's
blah.
Yeah, it's kind of blah. But other than that, it's so far. I think I'm kind of liking it. For a dungeon crawler, it's actually pretty good. It's very traditional dungeon crawler. Like you can set like auto mapping and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And you can even like select a point on the map and say go here, and it goes there. The only thing I wish it had that it doesn't, like Etrian Odyssey has it, 4 especially, is that you can draw a path and just set it to go, and then it instantly does it. Like, for example, if you're trying to grind enemies, in Etrian Odyssey 4, you can set it so that it's like, just keep continuously going around in a circle around this area, and then it just keeps doing it in and out of battle. Like, out of battle, I mean. So, like, you can just sit there and hold a button down and then just watch TV or something and just grind out experience. So, but that's kind of cheating, but at the same time, I liked it, so. And it can be useful, especially when you're trying to...
It's basically a game I'd recommend for people who like dungeon crawlers, but if you don't, stay away.
It's the people that like the Nipponichi style of dungeon crawler. It works. It's
a very typical dungeon crawler. Lots of,
All right.
Yeah. So. There's better dungeon crawlers out there, like Legend of Grimrock is a great dungeon crawler, but if you're looking for that, especially one with a lot of art assets in it, Demon Gaze is worth it.
Okay.
So, other than that, I mean, I played a lot of Phantasy Star, but I'm not going to get too much into that. I beat 1 and 2 finally after all these years of going through it. It's very grind heavy.
Awesome.
That's what I found out. I don't know. Have you guys ever played Phantasy Star before?
I haven't played a single second of a Phantasy Star game.
So the thing I've noticed is that the first game came out on the Master System, and then the second game came out on the Mega Drive, and so it's very noticeable, the leap in the change in the quality of the game itself. So,
and how are you playing these?
On the Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection that came out on the PS3, you can play all 4 of them. And so actually, is it all 4? I think it was. Yeah. So
I knew some of them were on there anyway. I haven't played them.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's very, like, I've played Phantasy Star 2. It's the game that people like to hold up as the ultimate, like, one of the best RPGs of all time kind of thing. And it was really good. What I've noticed, though, is that, especially, this is true of all those games from back then, it's that most of it was grinding, like, in that game. It's mostly like, hey, not to spoil it, but one of the parts of the game is that you have to go to, like, these different towers and collect these pieces of equipment that are important to this one of the characters, and so that entire time you're just facing monsters and grinding to get to those spots and get the items and then leave the place. So it's a lot of that. The story is really cool though. Like if only they worked on the story more, it'd be great, and removed some of the grinding. Like I'd be way more into it. And the things that do happen in that story, like a couple of the major moments, are pretty great. Like it's even all these years later, I definitely see why people felt so strong about those games. And the soundtrack's good; they're catchy. It gets in your head, especially because some of those places use the same music. But at the same time, like for what it's worth, it was really good. Yeah. Phantasy Star 1, it was cool having a lead female character that's both very strong magic and physical attacks, and not pandering like a certain character from a new Final Fantasy game. So I enjoyed it. And
Phantasy Star is one of those franchises that is a classic that I need to get around to someday.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, especially if you grew up in that area, you find it's easier to get into than, well, some people are like they're too.
I usually don't have an issue with jumping back in generation. So
speaking of generation, though, is that I checked out part of the Phantasy Star generation that came out in the PlayStation 2 in Japan. One of the things you notice in Phantasy Star 1 is that when you beat a boss or anything, it just dumps you out. Like you're just there and like, oh, I guess I beat him. I guess I gotta go home. That's how it is. Like it's like that, and like you go into like these different houses and you talk to somebody and that's it. They say like a 1 or 2 lines and that's it. And Phantasy Star Generation 1, which is the remake that they came out with, that I really wish they would have brought over. A couple of different things. One, in the Phantasy Star games on the Mega Drive and Master System, money is pretty hard to come by. Like you really have to grind to get money in that game, especially buying items. Like you buy a few pieces of equipment, you're gone. Like your money's done, and that's it. You got to go out there. In the PS2 version, you start off like in one chest in the first game, you get like 200 Meseta from a chest in a dungeon or something. In this game, you get like 2,000. or more. It's like you never have problems with money ever again. Like it's pretty much like you face a few battles, you have like 30,000, 40,000 meseta. You're lucky to get that much meseta after like an hour of grinding in the original version of that. So it's like you can definitely see the contrast between like old school RPG to modern takes. So that was a lot of fun. And I'm moving on to Phantasy Star 3, where apparently another female character lies that people are kind of mixed about. So I'll see how that goes. But I just feel like I'd bring that up just because I've been kind of playing my backlog right now. So anyway, I think we pretty much exhausted all worth talking about. So next month should be pretty exciting, though.
Yep.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, E3 coming up.
Yeah, so E3, we have some pretty great things. We already are talking about some of the things we'll be covering for E3. A lot of Witcher 3 coverage, Lords of the Fallen, I'm definitely going to get back in to see. And then hopefully we could see more Final Fantasy 15, at least a trailer, maybe. Maybe a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, if we're lucky. Maybe we'll hear more localization announcements. I really hope they show off more Atelier. I hope because that was one of the things that they announced silently at E3 before, was like the Totori game was coming over. Maybe we'll see Atelier Asia Plus there, which would be great. And then, a lot of other cool things that they're trying to get us into different meetings, a lot of special interviews and things like that we're going to be tackling. It's going to be pretty exciting, especially with some of the people that we're going to be able to talk to. You guys are going to see some amazing content for us out of E3. So I don't know if we'll get around to do a podcast in early June, just because we'll see how things go. It might not be a bad idea, actually, just talking about some of the things that we're looking forward to. You guys...
Yeah, we'll probably hear some stuff coming up in May. Yeah.
Yeah, May we got some big, like, Drakengard 3 is out this month.
There's Drakengard, there's a couple of smaller games. Yeah. Bound by Flame, there's Mine Zero. A couple
Soul Sacrifice Delta.
Mine Zero looks so bad. I don't know what to exactly say about it.
I want to play it before I judge it, because there'll always be the comparison.
Yeah.
I kind of blanket on some of the other stuff coming out this month. Watch Dogs, we might be covering, just because... I think we'll probably have a review for Watch Dogs, just because we're starting to branch out more and cover more of those types of games, even just for reviews, nothing else. Like, we won't be doing big news stories about it, but
yeah, pretty much.
You guys see. I think even Aaron was talking about reviewing Tex Murphy for the site, which is awesome. I'd be up for it. I love Tex Murphy, so his games. So yeah. We'll see a lot more of that. Then for that, though, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of the TetraCast. I'd like to thank Simon, Adam, and David.
Yeah, woo! Child and baby by pregnancy by holding hands.
Star Children.
Yep.
Mixing with 3 dudes. That's all we do in here.
No.
You guys want to classmate later?
This is a man mountain.
Man mountain?
This ain't no bro.
No, hey.
No.
Classmanting.
Class mansplaining. Okay, it's class man. Okay.
I thought it was class mounting.
Class mounting, yes.
Okay.
Same thing.
Yeah, manting, not mounting. Class manting. Don't get it mixed. Okay. We're very, very specific here. It's class manting, like mating with an N.
Okay.
Good. All right, just want to get that across.
All right.
Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. See you next time on the TetraCast.
Bye.